Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
My dear students, today's topic is concurrent nested, which is one of the most popular and important designs of the mixed methods. I hope in this lockdown period, these videos are helping you lots to keep your study going, so please keep watching. Let's get started with the definition of this design. So it's concurrent nested, and the definition is: the concurrent nested design is an approach where data are collected at the same time or in parallel within the same study, and one method, qualitative or quantitative, dominates while the other is embedded or nested. So I'm going to discuss the definition first. Here the term concurrent is indicating that both qualitative and quantitative data are being collected at the same time. But the important point to be noted here that the researcher, while finding the answers, sometime one method dominates the other method, and the dominated method is embedded or nested in it. Here, the embedded method plays a secondary role. That means a researcher can attach or embed quantitative data within a qualitative method or qualitative data within a quantitative methodology or method. In this design, priority is given unequally to both the method. The embedded or nested form of data are usually given less priority. And here always arises a question that why the researcher needs a less prioritized data, and the answer is that the less prioritized data may be included to help answer an altogether different question or a set of different questions. This design is helpful for gaining a broader perspective on the topic on one hand, and for studying different groups or levels within a single study. Then I will come to the second point. The premises of this design are that a single data set is not sufficient, that different questions need to be answered, and that each type of question requires different types of data, which is the most important point of this concurrent nested. So the justification of using this method is that, or the base of using this method is that an extensive study needs an in-depth observation and investigation, and for that different questions need to be answered, and to answer that each questions it requires different types of data. And the concurrent nested design offers those both kind of data. So in such situations, this design is employed. Let's move towards the conditions when a researcher can use this design in his research. Firstly, when the researchers need to include qualitative and quantitative data to answer a research question within a largely quantitative or qualitative study. When a researcher needs to embed a qualitative component within a quantitative design. Third, to offset possible weaknesses inherent to the predominant method. So the first one, when the researchers need to include qualitative and quantitative data to answer a research question within a largely quantitative or qualitative study. So in an extensive and comprehensive study, the researcher needs to answer to different variant type of questions. Then in those situations, the researcher can use this method or design to obtain or gain all the answers. Then second, when a researcher needs to embed a qualitative component within a quantitative design, so when a researcher wants to give importance on qualitative aspect in his quantitative study, or if he wants to give a qualitative touch in his quantitative study, then he can use this method. This because the researcher may think or observe that both the data can help him to get concrete solution. Then thirdly, to offset possible weaknesses inherent to the predominant method. So to curtail the weaknesses or to check or to reduce the weaknesses of the predominant method, then the researcher can use this type of design. I have already stated that in this design, one method always plays a dominating role while the other play a secondary role. So to control the dominating method, this design can be used. Let's give a look at the advantages of the design. Firstly, two types of data collected simultaneously, reducing time and resources. Then second, it gives broader and in-depth perspective on a topic. Then third, it provides a study with the advantages of both quantitative and qualitative data. So the first one, two types of data collected simultaneously, reducing time and resources. So it needs less time as data are collected simultaneously or concurrently or at the same time. Then second, it gives broader and in-depth perspective on topic. It gives a broader perspective to get more concrete findings because it used two methods, that is qualitative and quantitative. Then third, it provides a study with the advantages of both quantitative and qualitative data. So this design helps the researcher to get advantages of both the data. Both the qualitative and quantitative data can help the researcher to obtain a concrete solution or a systematic study or a systematic observation to get a solution which will helpful for the society or which will helpful for the whole mankind. Then the disadvantages. The first one, the data needs to be transformed in some way so that both types of data can be integrated during the analysis, which can be difficult. Then secondly, inequality between different methods may result in unequal evidence within the study, which can be a disadvantage when interpreting the data. The first one, the data needs to be transformed in some way so that both types of data can be integrated during the analysis, which can be difficult. So here maybe a problem arises when the researcher has to transform the data to integrate them in the analysis phase. He has to transform, that means he has to convert the qualitative nature of a data into quantitative nature and vice versa. So an inexperienced researcher can get confused in this phase. Then secondly, inequality between different methods may result in unequal evidence within the study, which can be a disadvantage when interpreting the data. So in this design, inequality is seen. Both the methods, that is quantitative and qualitative, don't get proper priority at the same time. So then inequality may pervade unequal answers in the analysis part, and which will be a disadvantage, more harmful disadvantage of this method. So this was the topic for the day. Hope this will clear your concept on mixed methods. If there are any queries or questions, please ask me in the comment box below. So these are the sources. Thank you.